Hey, what's up guys, June here. In today's video, we're going over the week of May 30th, 2022. This week took no trades, so instead we're gonna go over the action of the week and see if there was anything I could have played. I've been going over back and forth with my coach on what to do for time frames. I'm thinking of lowering it this week or the week coming up, simply for the fact that I'm doing more day trades. I'm available from, well, pretty much the entire trading day or trading session. However, I want to contain it from 8:30 a.m. Eastern to around 10:30, 11 a.m. Eastern. And then if anything, I'll check on it in the PM session around 3 o'clock. So I decided to, instead of a 20-minute, drop it down to a 7-minute. And then for the tick charts, do roughly maybe 500 tick. These red boxes, I was just trying to play and trying to see exactly how everything fits together. The biggest problem I have with these lower time frames is really zooming out and or being aware of a bigger context. Because with lower time frames, you got to be like, this is the amount of bars you want to work with. You don't want to work with less or more, or you don't want to work with more. You don't want to have this and be like, okay, time to do my analysis, because you can't do that. And there's things in between, and it's pretty hard for me. Like, for a while, I would be on a good streak, but then it would be, iffy at one point. However, with a 7-minute, with a higher time frame context, that might help evade some of those nasty stuff. So like, for example, I wouldn't know that there's anything wrong with taking trades up here, although it's pretty high up. It's right here, maybe looking for a pullback. I would take this anyways, but I could have avoided that, right? So what could we say? So this is where the week started, May 30th, and this is where the week ended. It was a range bound week. So I'm not too bummed out about missing out. However, like, there's about a bit of a flow to the upside or to the downside here that I could have been capitalized on. And there's some moves here, maybe something here. We'll see about that. However, with this downflow, most of the pockets of opportunity were in at night, I think. Yeah, they're in the early AM session, like 3 a.m. So whatever, not gonna catch them all. So what could we use? Well, we could say, well, the market was on this type of frequency and it washed it, and we're trying to go down instead of it kind of goes up, right? Comes up to here. Cool. You expected at least around there for doubling it out. About that, but we can't play that per se. What can we play? Well, notice how right here, 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're in a mini range, so maybe we're originally I had the market set up like this. So if anything, I could say, well, if it breaks here, this impulse, well, I can take it up to here, right? Or I could at least capitalize on the initial move, take it up to there, maybe it comes back, whatever else. No matter how I chart this, whether horizontally or in 3D space, which I think this is the more appropriate way to do it, it's still messy, so there was a trade. So knowing how there is 1, 2, 3 stops or reactions, if we start breaking out of it, there could be something to play, rather a wash or a breakout. So what happened? We go to that action. It was over here. Okay, so this is where it is. So this is what I meant by it's a little hard containing everything, because this is a tick chart. So these are trades, they're not minute charts. But if we're paying attention and we realize, well, if it breaks out here, then we have something. What do we have right here? Well, we have a double breakout, don't we? 1, boom, 2. I can probably bump this up maybe to even a 700 tick. I don't know. But what do we have? 1, 2, bam, reversal. The only consideration about this trade is this is not a very clean pullback, but everything else is going for it. Strong impulse, effort reverse. So there was effort here. They tried, bam, nope, comes back. And then in terms of entries, boom, left side entries, good enough if I'm not too concerned about the quality of this pullback. However, again, zoom, plus context wise, it's there. See, all this, there's not much context, I don't think. Maybe there's something, but seems iffy. So this would be a 1/3 type of entry. 1/3 would actually end up being right here. So that's 1/3 added, or zoom retest, or zoom retest. However you want to do, there's a right side entry, more of a subtle swing than an absolute rhythm. Now, what do I mean by subtle swing? Of course, well, bam, this is more of a subtle swing right there, where see there's achieving, whereas the difference between, let's say, this yeah, it beat the last confirmed swing, but if you look at the pullbacks, well, we have a bit bigger pullbacks. This is not quite, we could say, well, it might be washing it, that's going to continue lower. So it's the difference between a more complicated one, maybe 2-wave pullback or whatever else. This was an available trade, and if we take the measured move, just easy frequency, bam, boom, right there. That's solid. In terms of these trades, a bit too high up on the curve for me. I'm not too bummed out missing them. All right, so let's see what this action was. This action over here, or well, let's go to the Friday action. I didn't trade it at all. I was kind of looking at it. But what can we say about it? Well, at this point, we could claim, well, it expanded all the way up to here. Fair enough. And it's coming back down to the scene of the crime. So overall context, there's some room to fill at least this gap all the way up here, even all the way to this one, but more or less there's at least to here in terms of trades. And there was maybe even a backside of it, right? We don't want to trade through an interesting area. We want to trade either off of it or on the backside. Okay, say I'm thinking, okay, now we're going down. This looks kind of like a top wash, whatever. We're following it. This is the biggest swing of the frame. This is 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock, following it. This is a 8:30 news. Not trading that. Shakes you out. Zoom. Okay. More or less of an expansion, and this is a good example of a proper expansion. What do I mean? Well, the past few weeks I've been going over how expansions, well, they need 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 confirmed swings before a nice expansion, and look what it did. Nice flow to the downside. We even have up here more or less, and this expand 1, 2, and it continued. So that's the difference. So this is a difference between a good trend and one that's maybe expanding like that, right? It's doing some very ugly. Anyways, let's see if there's any trades. Expansion, at this point the frequency is a little crazy, but let's see what we get. So it appears that maybe there was a wash, maybe even a poke. What did it do? It did this. At this point, this is after the expansion, so I'm looking for different frequencies. I'm not looking for any frequencies from here. I'm not looking for the expansion swing or anything like that. Let me just pop this up on all charts. That way I have a reference. Okay, so we're right there. We're right into it, which is problematic. Was there any trades to take on the way down over here? For me, no. Maybe zoom, you enter here, but again, news is right around the corner. On this frame especially, you want to stay out of it. NQ as well. NQ can be a little dangerous. maybe we could take a trade if it comes here. Yeah, I'd say that was an appropriate trade. Yeah, I like that one. So what's going on here? Well, we have where it went to, came up, washed them out. You know, it's a little small wash, but relative to the structure, it seems about right. Zoom, retest, entry right here, stop behind there. I'm able to get one contract, maybe it'd be a bit higher due to frequency. About there. Enter here, stop right there. Unfortunately, it didn't come back. So that would be a valid trade if I'm willing to take it. I mean, it's a little ballsy, I have to admit. Take this green. Now that I look at it, I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, that's very interesting. Okay, so we have the last swing broke, right? Based on the wash. Came up. So, would I be willing to take this trade? This is hard. The only way I see myself taking this trade is if I say, well, this is pretty important right here. Right, gap slide, zooms back in. This is one of those really iffy zooms that I'm not a fan of at all. So the entry would be here, stop behind there. Seeing a wash of that. I'm not too sure if that's too clean or not. ETH, kind of iffy. Lots of wicks, eh? Lots of wicks. I mean, that would be the gap slide, really. A gap slide or swap. This could also be conjoined with a 50% pullback, right? Yeah. So this would be a 50% pullback. You could say entry here, target. All right, so that was a possible trade. Man, these ones are crazy, but it makes sense, right? There's a little something comes up, zoom, goes to the bottom. I take it to right here. If I'm thinking, well, maybe we have a bit more due to how this performed all the way up here. Of course, look, I went to target, bam. If I'm willing to play that. In fact, since we have all of this jazz up here, I'm thinking, well, this is good enough. Trade there. Or do I have a double the range? Yeah, I definitely do have a double the range in there. So double the range worked out pretty well. I'd say maybe my target's here, or I take profits. I'd probably be either willing to go to that or have my stop behind this, or simply take it right there. Either or, I think, makes sense. Okay, so there was a trade hidden among this NQ. All right, and then from there it went a little chaotic. You're watching, I'm gonna see what happens. It comes back, like, okay, we broke through it. What do we have in terms of swings? Ugh, I hate when it does that. When it does these swings and it keeps going, it appears late. But anyways, this is the last swing. The swing that broke. I think I'm gonna use that. The swing that broke it. Not this one, not that one. Whatever the case may be. Kind of on the back side of this. 10:30. Zoom. Nice breakout. We're through it. We're through the mess. Now, in terms of context, we're through the mess, right? We're against all this. These are try targets. Whoops, no. Although this is the initial breakout right here. This is the initial breakout right here, yeah. So yeah, I thought it was here. It's not. That's a bit later. Okay, so really quick entries, quick exits. We're back. A bit of technical difficulties. As I was saying, quicker profits if I had to measure, had to move this around. Properties, all charts. Okay, cool. So not more than that. I'd say not more than the measured move. Of course, I'm measuring it from here, which is when the target. Man, these measured moves are solid, eh? Have the balls to go all the way down. Oof. Frankly, I'd take this more than enough. But what was the entry in this case? Well, the entry was right here, right? A nice zoom. We're watching, we're watching. Bam. Right there. That's the entry. Zoom. We're looking for entry right there. Where would the stop be? That's the question of the century, eh? It would have to be above, I think. How about right there? Bit of a, yeah, this is a bit of one of those. I'm willing to play that. Then I take this swing, 1/3. You could say 1/3 there, or maybe the CIB is behind there. I will check in with my coach to see what he thinks. And it pulled up all the way up. And in terms of targets, there's good enough. Yeah. I'd say that would be a great trade. Okay, so there are trades in between. I just got to really be paying attention. Take what's happening, because as you may have noticed, there's so many swings in between that I could be taking. Just, well, is there a frequency that matches up with the context? We're switching back on this. Pop it. Here. And then return to the scene of the crime. Could there be a trade up till here with the idea of, well, that was the short con, this is the long con, bouncing up, probably be buyers. If they show up, we could take a trade. How will we do it? Well, I'm following this swing. Breaks here. I'm thinking, well, is there a wash? Oh, it was actually pretty sharp of a wash. I mean, it didn't try to do it, right? I think that's the difference. It has to try, then wash it. Then it pops up. Like, okay. Makes a new high. Back to the gap. Is there a trade somewhere here? And this is 12 o'clock on a Friday. I'm not willing to. I think my stop would have to be behind here. Well, is this the CIB or is that the CIB? Well, what's technically the CIB? It tried to move there, thinking behind here would make sense. Yeah, you know what? That would make sense for me. A stop. But again, this is behind, or this is against overall structure. So this is kind of the idea where, well, you don't want to be too small with your stop because it can do a number of things. It can do double bottom, which is a sign of a reversal. I think this is a bit too tough to sniff out a trade. Double breakout, but double breakout of what? Of this? Not really the second breakout, is it? I mean, I could see it, right? Kill zone, blah, blah. It's not uber clean either. Maybe. Comes back. And there you go. Alright, well, guys, I think that'll be it for this week. Went over the NQ. There's a few considerations to be making insofar as time frames. These are some interesting trades. I want to see if they're valid or not, but they're there. They're there. Okay, that'll be it. Till next time, guys. Adios.